In 1886, a young physician established a small medical practice in Vienna. Patients would come to lie on this very couch, and as he listened, they'd share their innermost fears and anxieties. Their intimate, very personal stories would nourish a radical and controversial new way of understanding our pasts, our desires, what drives our every action. Ideas that would take the world by storm. Because this couch belonged to Dr. Sigmund Freud. The 19th century witnessed unprecedented change. Transformed by revolutions in industry, science and society. It was an age that questioned traditional authority and produced three game-changing thinkers. Karl Marx attacked the social and economic order. Friedrich Nietzsche took on Christian morality. And Freud questioned the very essence of who we are. Their penetrating, often contentious ways of seeing the world still shape how we make sense of our lives today.
I started as a neurologist trying to bring relief to my neurotic patients.
Sigmund Freud's ideas not only spearheaded a massive leap forward in how we treat illnesses of the mind, they also had a pivotal cultural impact. The freedom we take for granted today to talk openly about our deepest feelings, from sexual difference to inner demons. The slogans that power our consumer society stem in part from his ideas. From Freud, we get the notion of the unconscious mind as a reservoir of irrational, conflicting impulses. His ideas have become part of our vocabulary: penis envy, the pleasure principle, wish fulfillment, and of course, the Freudian slip.
People did not believe in my facts and thought my theories unsavory.
But Freud's always been controversial. For some, he's not a genius, but a charlatan obsessed with sex, whose speculative theories are impossible to prove, and whose methods are positively dangerous.
Resistance was strong and unrelenting.
Freud's ideas still provoke intense debate today, but what's not in doubt is that his innovative mapping of the human mind challenged taboos and conventions in ways that fundamentally changed our conception of self.
In the end, I succeeded. My name? Sigmund Freud.
To understand how Freud's ideas evolved and how they add up, it seems appropriate to adopt an approach that Freud himself pioneered, something that we now take for granted, to look for the keys for his motivation and character by exploring his childhood experiences. When Sigmund Freud was born here in 1856, the town was called Freiburg in Moravia, part of the Habsburg Empire. Freud was born with a caul, and that's when part of the fetal membrane is still attached to the baby's head. And in those superstitious times, this was considered a good omen. Freud's mother certainly interpreted it as a sign that her newborn son was destined for happiness and fame. Freud's Jewish parents could only afford to rent a single room in this building. And family life was complex. His mother was 20 years younger than his father, who'd been married before and had 2 adult sons. And so one of Sigmund's half-brothers was even older than his mum. Sigmund's closest playmate was in fact his own nephew. But they were to be wrenched apart. Because when Sigmund was 3, his father's small business selling wool collapsed, scattering the entire family in search of work. Life may have been imperfect, but where Freud's family ended up would prove to be a critical factor in the future success of the young boy.